Ian,
Broadhead. Yes.
this is our first session as Lenos and solo play, correct?
You are correct.
Okay, so let's recap a little bit. What do you remember about your character thus far? Give me like a breakdown of your history.
I hail from the lands of Conte within the Imperium. My mother sought to climb high society, climbed a bit too high, proceeded to fall, but happened to gain me in the process. Uh, Father, as far as I'm aware, unknown. My mother never
Nay.
told me. Oh my god. She has since been left to her own devices. I don't keep so much up with her as I once did. I instead sought to carve my own means of existence out in the world, thus sparked my traveling through the Imperium and later brought me to the new frontier that is the Shadowlands.
Okay. So only a light touch. The Imperium is only a select few terras, particularly the one that Andrew came from.
Okay.
So you travel through the Vicantian lands, rather.
Yes.
So that's all. That's all pretty accurate. Nothing wrong there. Okay, so then you obviously found yourself with you had found Avix just before actually arriving into the Shadowlands and told him that you would be able to set guide markers for him to follow you. Though you suspected that you would be faster on your own, you ended up moving ahead. And while you were traveling initially in the Shadowlands, you did ultimately come across both the child known as Kuzan and the and an Imperial soldier by the name of
Vandrin.
Bandrin. And having traveled with them, you found the Camp of First Light. And at the Camp of First Light, you and your group became a little bit closer, took on tasks with one another, and came across several objects of power. You traveled quite a distance, ended up seeing the Freer, explored quite a bit, found some devastations from the Witch, and found yourself capable of using demonic abilities, though you did not know it at the time. You end up following the coven's like voice to to the location. So when you split up from your group, you did tell everyone that you were leaving for quite some time, though you were not too clear as to where. That includes a goodbye to Kiara, and then just before you actually left, Avix had come with a request to aid him with his wolf, at which point you were nearly captured until the ultimate rescue from Avix, and and then from that, subsequently, you ended up leaving. I don't believe, were you injured during that fight?
Uh, no, actually.
Okay.
Miraculously. I
Yeah.
was mildly concussed and blinded,
Right.
but that was about it.
Okay. So yeah, so you got lucky enough not to be injured, so you didn't have to like go back to camp and be hospitalized or anything like that. You ended up just kind of leaving directly. It didn't make sense for you to go back and tell them about your struggles, so you just ended up leaving, thinking that the Imperials won't be back for a while anyway, considering that they
At,
had marched away, right?
at least that branch, yes.
Yeah. Um. So, are you ready to spawn?
I am, yes.
Okay. So you travel quite a ways away north, um, and you end up following like the kind of monikers that they have lying around, which brings you to this purely like so the Shadowlands in general it has like very erratic effects in the skies, right? Kind of like what you would see in Antarctica, those auroras.
The Aurora Borealis, yes.
Uh, um, It has starry red patterns and blue and purples and greens. Occasionally, green's probably the rarest one. But here, it has nothing. It's pure darkness, black. When you approach these lands, it was as though you were cascaded in permanent darkness. Um, you have the ability to see in some amount of fashion. So, while very much darker than you're used to, you were able to kind of like have more or less like a 5 foot radius, so you're not like just smacking into every tree.
Hmm.
I don't believe that you have true night vision yet, right?
Correct.
Okay. So,
I
but
just have
you do
the
have
perks
enough to
lower.
like move through here.
Okay.
So you follow the guided markers as best you can. You can hear people lost in the darkness. They like scream out when they hear you passing through like one of the random chasms along a mountain. It does require some amount of acrobatics and skill to move through this area, and you can tell that some things have like etchings in the stone to where like you would need to read. I believe you can read.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, it would be in Shadowlands Common. Can you read Shadowlands Common?
Yes.
Okay,
I am
excellent.
written and spoken in both Imperial and Shadowlands Common.
That's good. That so so you would read like hints that the coven members had given to themselves about like when to jump, how far to jump. You know, they kind of wrote it in the stone in the etchings. If you look deep enough, you can kind of find it. Anytime you get lost, you just start looking for those, right?
Okay.
And occasionally you would see like the blue flames up in the mountains from certain angles, and you can tell that you must be deep, right? Adventuring this far out here, you end up finding like abandoned camps and stuff, which you can like kind of harvest some supplies and end up pushing forward. You're running out of food steadily as you end up approaching to the top of the mountain, and you start to see all of the different pyres that they've been maintaining. These are huge flames, right? Massive. They must be running like 24-man like workforces in order to keep these things lit.
They're massive beacons.
Yeah, huge fires on these mountaintops. And as you approach the final steps, you can hear like the wailing of the lost people in the darkness has basically stopped as you've like pretty much ascended far into the sky, right, with your climb. You start to see like the reflection of the silver layered gateways and the kind of like starry stoned material that makes up the face of this like fortress out of the mountain stone. You feel that eerie energy, and you can hear like this kind of monotone humming coming from the temple itself. As you like begin to approach, you kind of like grab a handful of dirt, and you see that it's like this black sand. It looks otherworldly. It's not from here.
Does it have an innate power?
The thing itself does not. The sand itself, it feels different. Like you haven't felt too much sand, presumably. I don't know that you grew up on a beach or anything. I'm gonna assume that you haven't. So the sand that you would have seen maybe would have been like from a lake or something. It wouldn't have been this kind of sand. So this is new to you entirely.
Okay. What
Um,
color is it?
it's black, like a black sand. Has a little bit of that sparkle effect going
I dig it.
on. So as you actually approach, you can hear that the humming is like from priests. You think it's echoing throughout the different halls of like the caverns, the associated caverns that you can't quite see, right? But it must be like sporadically placed all around this mountain. And the choir gets like louder and louder. And as you approach the gates, you can see that there are people up there that are like eyeing you. Their eyes are red or purple or yellow in the darkness, right?
They're like cat's eyes gleaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and as you like approach deeper, you can see more like weird sculptures and terrifying like images. You can't tell. Sometimes there's like some that's like so far up in the mountain, but just like shine against the backlight of the braziers that like it looks like a demon, but it could just as easily be a statue. It's all
Okay.
kind of wigging you out, right? And no
Hmm.
one's talked to you up to this point. You actually start walking through what looks like a training ground where you can see people fighting with their bronze and bone and blood and fist, right? Just all they're just like training. A majority of them, from what you can tell, they're like blindfolded or just generally enguised. Um, Various skills, and even further off, you think you see someone fighting with something else, just an unknown.
Okay.
It almost looks like a sweeping style of attack. Um,
Utilizing a weapon or
you're
as
not
their
sure.
body?
It's they're too far.
Okay.
But so you end up entering deeper. You can almost feel this like pulling effect coming about you, and as you enter deeper into this like fog of power that is in this temple, you start to see what you think was an image of like this demon that's like staring at you, but he's like not there. Like every time you look, he just doesn't exist. But you feel him. This like dark, ominous presence with kind of like grayish eyes or opaque eyes. Anyway, so as you continue further down, eventually you are meted by a single priest. He's wearing all the dark clad robes and the blindfold, similar to the people you saw outside, but it's a little bit more elaborate, a little bit thicker. And you see him with three kneeling women in front of him, and he's holding out a blade towards you, as though he was expecting you to come down this very hall.
I approach.
All right. As you approach, you hear him mumble in Shadowlands. He says, Lenos, you have come to meet with our master, but she requires a price. I ask of you to let these women hear you, see you, and accept you. And only when this is done must you kill them. You will either know the way or you will not. He continues holding the knife towards you, hilt first.
I reach out and grasp the hilt, sorry.
Okay. He steps aside, disappearing into the shadows seemingly. You figure he's still here watching. But as you like position yourself in front of the three girls where he was, you see that there is a dark, deep pit behind them. It's a miracle that you didn't like fall into it as you like crossed over. You're not even sure it existed until you actually reached this position.
Okay.
But you can feel this like ominous pulsing from inside the well, and the dagger on your hand, its hilt feels like perfect. Like this blade is like awesome. And you can see its fine, yeah, you can see its fine craftsmanship and its perfect crystal edge. But yeah, the women are breathing. One is like almost in shambles on your right. She's like basically dry heaving. They all seem perfectly healthy, beautiful from just the appearance of their skin and so on. Their form. They all have raven hair.
Okay. And they're all kneeling?
Yep. They're all kneeling, bound, gagged, blindfolded.
And he said they must... What did you say exactly? They must see and know me?
They must see you, hear you, and accept you.
I've inferred two of the three, I'm pretty sure.
You're sitting there like you felt the blade, feels like a great blade, right? You see this well, you see the three women, and the surrounding area around you. You seem to be in some kind of like circular chamber in between
like
hallways.
Okay.
Your character would like flip to his like card that he's carrying on him. He's not sure if it's relevant.
Which two of you gathered in?
Well, it was see, hear, and accept you.
Yeah.
See and hearing, I would infer carve out one's eyes, carve out one's ears.
Oh, cool. The other one's just accepting death. You are death. They have to accept you, I'm assuming.
I like that, yeah.
God, it's nice to be able to help a friend. Or at least, offer solutions.
They must see, hear, and accept.
Mm-hmm. Remember, feel free to do RP like movements and stuff.
I go ahead and take a closer look at the tarot card.
Okay. You take a look at the card. If I believe, I haven't checked the recording. I believe that it's described as a paper face with a ink pattern on the top, right?
Oh, I wasn't muted.
My
bad.
And you can see that the illustration on it is that of the matriarchal deity that is Lilith.
Okay.
And she looks like grimaced or evil, kind of like sinister. It's a full body figure, not a face shot. When you look at this figure and then you look at these three, it's almost, they look similar.
You said I felt a presence from the pit?
Yeah, when you when you feel into the pit, like you like close your eyes and like feel the pit, you feel Lilith.
Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm second guessing this see you, hear you, and accept you. To see and to hear, I shouldn't rob them of their senses.
Correct. I would imagine anyway.
Yeah. So, so my thought process is either I don't know. There's a few ideas I'm playing with. Ungag and blind them. They're not. They can still hear it, correct, Michelle?
Yeah, it's your understanding they can still hear.
So I suppose I could just approach in the very literal sense.
Walk around the room, Ian. You found clues approaching up here. See if there's something similar,
Good point. I'll take a
like
lap
or
around
like
the room.
like sculptures or something like that.
Yeah.
Carvings.
Yeah, there could be ceremonial things in place.
Okay.
Checking the floors and the walls.
You look around the
Tossing the
circular area.
tossing the knife as I walk.
You see very elegant murals painted up on the on like the inner circle bits, like the inner band of the major room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they depict a seeming story of like a being of light having been formed, and then this like depiction of Lilith having found that light, and then the light and Lilith kind of like conjoining in this like ever present like situation, like symbiotically. Other than that, you see several like bronze plates, almost like set pedestal, not pedestals, like not full pedestals, but like attached to the wall, right to the bottom part of the circles, with little bronze plates, and they depict each one like a different kind of major sin, right? Like the Great Seven, pride, or like pride, right?
Pride, wraith, gluttony, sloth, lust,
Yeah,
greed, and
they present
vengeance, or
those.
something.
Um, all of this is like made from several materials, and it's all kind of like inlaid with silver.
Nothing crazy telling. Obviously, it's telling some sort of origin of Lilith.
Yeah, your character wisdom would agree.
Well, back to my ideas, Andrew, for feedback. Uh, I mean, obviously, there was the first one, rob them of the senses and then execute the third. But then obviously, they're not seeing and, well, they could potentially hear.
They need to see you.
See you, hear you, and accept you. I do like the death
I definitely
angle.
think the accept is they accept death from you, that you are death. In that instance, I would imagine, because I don't think it's they're gonna accept that you're raping them. That just seems really weird.
Oh my god.
See you.
Your
I mean,
character
it
finds
seems kinda
himself back in the place. By the way, when you etched around, you notice that the well does in fact disappear. So like it only appears when you're before the three. From in front.
Alright, I almost feel like the well is important now.
So one of my ideas was literally just ignore the three women and approach directly into the pit. Maybe even jump into it. But obviously that's ignoring the perceived task. Is there any inscribing on the blade?
Yeah, it's written in a daemon tongue.
Damn. Faux shame.
Or excuse me, no, it's written in celestial tongue.
Oh, even worse. One of the few branches of linguistics that I usually don't go into.
But yeah, unknowable language for you as of this time.
Are the women sitting on anything in particular?
No, they're like essentially in a sundress, each of them.
And they're not struggling or thrashing?
The one on the furthest left, the right of you, right, the furthest left of them,
Mm-hmm.
is like she's at this point she's like freaking out so bad she's on the ground. But the other two are like keeping their calm or composure to some amount.
See, the sight and hearing is just counterproductive to, the assassin thing. So you might be wanting to consider what is Lilith.
Well, at the end of the day, I don't know much about Lilith. Obviously, she...
Maybe it's just as simple as, take off the blindfold, let them actually see you. It could just be something that simple.
It could be, yeah.
They're just seeing if you follow orders, maybe.
Well, no, not necessarily, because if it was just a simple matter of following orders, they would have ordered their execution. It seems to be under the guise of perceiving a directive without there being a direct directive given. They must see you, hear you, and accept you.
Was there something in your summons that didn't make sense at the time?
My summons to come here?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't summoned to come here.
Oh.
The individual who, my contact who I spoke with in regards to my recruitment, we met up and he mentioned they have a conclave that I could seek shelter during the winter with, if I remember correctly. It has obviously been over a month about since we played, so I could be misremembering that.
No, that's about accurate. The major thing that fucked with you was the for some reason you weren't allowed to come here until you garnered the power of a demon. But then they realized that you like kind of have the power of a demon, and then they allowed you to come to the coven.
Yes.
Mhm.
The guy was like, you needed to prove yourself through the initiation, only for you to apparently already exceed the requirements. See you, hear you, and accept you. Do any of the women have tattoos exposed or markings or paint of any
No,
kind?
they're all clean. They even look like they've been like freshly scrubbed. Looks like their hair was like heavily combed. They've been well taken care of.
They've been
Oh.
They've been groomed.
yeah, so they've been ritually prepared.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yes, brother.
One of them seems to be like freaking out, right?
Yes.
That's the one you need to make accept. One of them might be blind. One of them might be deaf.
But they're all blindfolded, gagged, and
'cause
bound.
you have to figure it out. Because one is clearly,
Distraught.
one is clearly distraught. So that makes sense. You need to make her accept whatever is happening, kind of thing.
Your character would just snap a finger and you'd see all three react, so you can dismiss that theory. Not to get you guys too side railed.
I gotcha. So two of them are kneeling with relative calm.
It's a good theory though, Andrew. That's why I had to do that. that really has the potential of side railing the shit out of y'all.
Yeah.
It's just coincidence.
It was worth a shot.
No,
my
it
brain's
was-
at least working.
Yeah, it was super good. I was like, damn, that really does work. It's like, fuck, I have to fix this. BRB, feel free to take a small break.
Do you know much about Lilith?
No, I've never even heard of her.
From what I understand, she is one of the oldest daemons. Obviously, she represents some level of sin and primal urge. The mural depicting her joining with the light, obviously, if I remember correctly, she is like the origin of life, isn't she?
If you're asking Michelle, he's not here. He said be right back.
Yeah, I know. Mostly soundboarding with you.
God, I don't like riddles. I know this isn't quite a riddle, but like, man, I would not do well here. I don't think, because they all hear. So I mean, it has nothing to do with them being blindfolded and restrained or whatever.
Well, I mean, the few ideas I've come to is, I mean, execute them all.
Wait, so is the wording
Or
make them see you, hear you, and accept you?
Wisdom shows have them see you, hear you, and accept you.
He holds out a blade. I have it written. So he holds out a blade for you to kill one. But first, they must see you, hear you, and accept you. The long version was, hear you and accept to return from where their beauty had originated from.
Oh, so you did not say that the first time around.
No, I purposely left that out because I think it's a little overbearing, but
Where their beauty came from.
Have them see you, hear you, accept you. Where would that part fit in, Michelle?
And accept you. And accept to return to where their beauty had originated. I mean, I'm like paraphrasing.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah. It makes more
Okay,
sense if I
so-
word it like this.
One of
And
them
now-
has to go into the pit.
Or all of them have to go into the pit. You said they're all of remarkable beauty?
You can't tell. Because they're
Oh,
gagged, blindfolded, and...
Oh, okay. I'll go in and sit the
Oh,
one
but you
up
can only
there.
make one see. Only one can hear you? No, because you've
No,
already
he said-
snapped.
No, it said make them see you, hear you, and accept you. And then now there's the build on and return the beauty from whence it came, essentially.
Mhm.
Plural.
He did specify to kill one, which may not have been clear. He's essentially telling you to pick. That's the reason why I left that part out. It's because it's not necessary for you to pick, but he kind of implies it. There's a lot of ambiguity here. There's a and I don't.
They're looking to see how my character interprets it and reacts.
Right. Mhm. You believe it to be a test, but you're not sure as to what. One thing's for certain. You think that what you've been doing, looking around, looking for clues, this is the kind of thing that they want. Because the whole idea here is like you have very limited information.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm going in blind.
Oh, so one of my ideas was good.
Good job, brother.
Well, actually, two were good. One of them had to be stopped by the DM.
Only because it was it was a good thought pattern. It was more than I was putting into this. Like I accidentally matched your cues. Wouldn't have been half bad if I did that. But again, that's a little overbearing. The reason why I didn't do that is because it's like, you like match a trait for a trait for a trait, then you know exactly what you're looking for.
I'd assume
Check it-
so.
Did you check anything with the pit? Inspect the pit.
The ceiling just kind of looks like a really dark, sparsely starry sky. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll cloche to the precipice of the pit.
Okay. So you push past the women?
Mhm.
All right. You like look down the well. It just kind of like seems infinite. You feel like an unending hunger kind of feeling from it. Like it's never going to be satisfied.
Okay.
Fear maybe like a weird kinship too.
The endless darkness.
Hmm.
Continuing forever.
You get the urge to like throw something in it, but I don't know whether or not you would actually do that. That's up to you.
About to do myself.
Yeah, ew, I wouldn't throw a dagger in there. I'm just jumping, bro.
Bitch, I ain't a bitch. Bitch.
We never got a chance to see one at First Light Camp, but you think that this is similar to like a rift.
Alright. I don't want to sit here all night, so I'm just gonna make a decision. I go up to whichever one. How close are they together?
They're pretty close. You had to push the center one into the other like non-laying down one.
Okay.
So you like moved them out of the way, or moved her specifically out of the way. She made a light moan.
Okay.
Thank you for that one.
Oh my god. Alright. I'll go over to whichever one seems calmest.
All right. It's between the two on the right or on your left, but on their right.
Alright.
How do you want me to say this, by the way?
No, I understand the positioning. I got it. I'm behind them, so they're to my left, but when I was facing them, it's to my right. I'll go over to the one on the farthest side, and I'll kneel down,
Okay.
and
Right,
I'll
face level. You can
I'll
see that
lower-
she has like a stern like look about her face. You can tell under the blindfold.
lower my voice, so it's just between us, into a faint whisper, and ask her. Well, a bit of ask and tell. I come bearing release and return to the mother. Do you accept this fate? Will you go willingly into her embrace?
She reaches out, Do you let her?
Mm-hmm.
She touches your face and says, if that's where you need me to go.
I thank you for your answer. And then I go to the next one down the line and do the same thing.
All right. You find your character finds himself looking at the first, who like goes back to her like Neil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, who like doesn't know exactly where she's at. She's kind of like sprawling on the ground a bit, trying to figure out where she was.
I'll help. Like she's out of her kneel.
Yeah.
I'll reorient her.
Okay. You help her out. She's back on her kneel, and she looks up at you, seeming knowingly with her blindfold on, which surprises you a bit. She knows like your exact height, right? She's meeting you at eye level.
Yeah, they definitely. I have the odd feeling that their eyes have been ritually sacrificed for something. Cough, cough, special sight. Been there, done that, seen that. I come offering release back to the mother. Do you go willingly back into her embrace? You would shun away the embrace and the gifts that were bestowed upon you.
I would.
Thank you for your answer. I go to the last one that was most fragile.
She
Reorient her back into her kneel.
she fights with you and like grabs at your leg, right? And she says, "Please, please, no, bring me back. I don't want to be here.
Calm yourself, child.
No."
I come offering release back to the mother. Will you go willingly back to her embrace?
They stole me from my village. Please help.
That is in the past. We are in the now.
She retreats from you and attempts to like find like an exit, right? So she like kind of crawls off. And she's like freaking out. She's freaking out so bad that she can barely like walk, let alone run.
I stop her. I grab her before she crawls away
Okay.
and reorient her back into her kneel.
All right. You force her down. Do you like kind of like hit her down so that she stays?
Yeah, I firmly put her back into her kneel.
Okay. She like scrapes her knee and you see blood running. And you feel this like breath on your back
Like the breath of a person.
or something less human. By the time you turn around, it's gone.
I wasn't even going to turn around.
Okay.
A question has been asked. Will you go willingly back to the embrace?
Have you not been listening? I go nowhere willingly. I want to return to my village. My family waits for me.
So you will not go willingly.
She shakes her head, crying.
I'll stand back up and stand before all three of them.
Mhm.
Thoughts, Andrew? So I'm looking at it three different ways.
Yeah. First thought.
Go ahead.
Thank God this isn't me. Holy fuck, would this suck?
What, having you fight with the moral conundrum of this, or...
Just trying to figure this what the fuck they want, dude.
I don't think there is necessarily a perfect way to execute this.
Yeah, I don't think you want to kill the scared one. I think she's supposed to act as like the innocent one, and they're testing to see if you're just gonna kill innocents when you don't need to, kind of thing. Could be
Yeah.
wrong.
So, I mean,
Or
the way
since she does know what happened, witness. I don't know at which way they want it to go.
So there's a few ways I'm looking at it. I could execute the scared one, execute that which is a loose end and a danger to the sanctity of the coven, or leave the middle one as someone who's not quite ready to join the embrace, or just kill her for she denies returning to the embrace of Lilith, and then leaving the third one because she is willing to actually give in to the embrace. So she is obviously willing to work and embrace Lilith. So it's kind of she is potentially in the fold. Or I could just kill all three.
Technically, they've all seen and heard you, and one of them has accepted you, or accepted what you have said.
True. They have all made eye... Well, no, every single one made eye contact except the last one. Correct?
Mm-hmm. No, the first one never actually looked at you.
Oh, she didn't?
No, you went to her kneel height, but she never actually looked at you. Excuse me, you went head to head with her, but she never actually looked at you. She caressed her face.
Ah, okay. Well, she accepted me. The second one saw me, and the third one heard me.
No, all three of them heard you.
I was drawing a parallel in the scheme of the things. I know they all heard me.
Well, I guess it didn't. I think when he said it the long way, it wasn't each one had to do one. He
Yeah.
just said make them hear you, see you, and accept you, which makes me think that you have to have all of them accept you. Fuck, dude. I
See,
hate
that
this
was
shit.
that was one of the
Give me
original running
this.
ideas I had, which was convince all of them to return.
I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm starting to think there's not actually a wrong answer at this point. I think they're just trying to see what you do.
As do I. Which, I mean, I could pair dialogue with most of the choices I could have on the spot and have it skewed in a productive manner.
I mean, the
That
first
would
one
work well.
definitely seemed loyal to Lilith, and is willing to do anything for the cause, or she just knows what to say. So, you mean, grain of salt kind of thing.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
The middle one, I was with you. I would return her for return the gift to where it was from, assuming it's the pit. I have no idea. I don't even know what to do with the last one, dude.
See,
It's
like,
innocent. I'd probably just let it go.
I'm kind of leaning. Well, I mean, that's you. I'm leaning between two options. It seems. I feel like in my mind, the first option, which is kill all three of them and return them all. Return she who is willing, she who is not. And I mean, I feel like I need to have some verbal descriptor for the third that's not willing and the unwilling. Or the other option is kill the two that are unwilling and leave she who is willing as one who is willing to embrace Lilith.
Your character wisdom would kick in and say, you haven't even seen their features, like fully seen them, because part of you is like flipping the tarot card on the other hand and seeing that it's possible that you're choosing them for sacrifice. Well, what's the sacrifice for?
Beauty.
Right. So shouldn't you then choose or try to choose the most beautiful?
Correct.
Can't do that if they're all blindfolded and shit. Which might play into the original scheme.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. I have to go die again.
Best of luck.
Yeah.
All right. Starting with the first, then the second, then the third. I'll quick cut the sundresses off.
Okay. The first doesn't move, if doesn't flinch. The second would cover herself, and the third would like try to hide herself at the ground, right?
I correct her back into the kneeling. A little
Pull
bit
her back
firmer
up.
this time for the point to stick.
Okay, you can see that the third one is the youngest, and has a pretty undeveloped frame. So like, who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other two have developed frames, and the first one is definitely the most beautiful, body wise, but the second is very close.
And they all have ebony hair.
Yeah, they're all raven haired. So you suspect the last like major feature is the eyes.
Is the tarot card colored?
It's white and black, primarily.
Okay.
White and black, and maybe some purple thrown in
What was the description of Lilith when she encountered me in the vision? When I first accepted the card.
Yeah, she had a figure similar to the first two.
She also had raven hair?
No, her features weren't like decipherable. You just saw her like general shape.
What color were her eyes?
They were a
Were they
deep
red?
purple.
Oh, they were purple. Okay. Alright, starting with the first, then the second, then the third. I'll remove the blindfolds.
Okay. Um, you remove the blindfolds from the first. She doesn't look directly at you. She's like looking ahead. Um, you're like when you look at her, she's reminding you of something, and like you're not sure why, but she's gorgeous, right? So then you move on to the next. Also
Is it
gorgeous.
Kiara?
No, it's not Kiara. Um, but you think that you're on the right track though. It almost feels like the same level of importance. Um, when you move on to the second, I guess you hesitated there for a second, right? But then when you move on to the second, this girl is also gorgeous, but she has like a light pale blue kind of eye, and then the third has a more I guess like a pale pinkish, almost like a Lily's eye color.
Okay. What was the first one, sorry?
Uh, purple. Like it almost looks like it's like has an inner glow to it.
And you said she tickles something in the back of my mind?
Yeah, you can't quite place it. When you like think about it, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you find yourself in this like mountainscape, and there's like this dark woods around. You see imagery of like owls flying ahead, and you see this woman clad in like dark shadow.
What aura do I get from her? What vanity?
Um, just that of power.
Similar to Lilith?
Yeah. Lilith is unique. You haven't sensed power like that before. This is like you're not even sure where you're getting this imagery from right now. This is like something else.
Like, this is just kind of springing to life in my mind.
Yeah. Lilith's power is unique. It's like a pit of death. That you've never felt anything like that.
I allow the mind's eye to play out.
Okay.
You said the imagery was just kind of springing forth to my mind?
Yeah. Oh, you try to like stay in it.
Yeah.
You would see someone that looked similar to yourself, like walk up, and they look like they're like going for a walk or something.
I allow it to play out. I start gathering details of what looks almost like me.
Mhm.
Does it appear me older, younger, different?
No, it's not you. It's like he feels like you, but it's not you. You can tell after a while. You can't hold on to it for very long. You get the idea that they're like in a relationship. But you would like snap back, right? And you would look at her, and then the name would come to mind. You would say the word sin.
Oh, fuck. I know what this is now.
You like look at her, right, and then look at the other two. You don't recognize these two at all. You figure the importance level on the other two is not as high as this one,
Importance, yes.
because for whatever reason, this girl is coming to you. You don't know what that means. You don't know if you're like seeing a premonition or what. You don't believe that this sin person is Lilith, though.
Yeah. I've already thrown that one out.
Mhm.
Well, I want to see potentially where that plays out, so I feel as though I'm probably going to leave that one alive.
Your character thinks that, right? I'm gonna leave this
Mhm.
one alive, and then you feel yourself like put the blade to her neck.
Against my will.
So your character is now in his like hypercritical mode.
Mm-hmm.
So your character believes that this is weakness. This might be the test. She puts 3 women in front of you.
And see which one I'm looking to leave alive.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, it's fucking ruthless, and I love every fucking bit of it.
Who's to say that those envisionments aren't Lilith herself?
Toying with me.
Mm-hmm. You have no recollection of this sin nor this life. And by the way, remember in this history, where I don't know if you recall this, but the soul cycle hasn't even been formed yet.
Yeah, so it couldn't be a past life. Alright, I know what I'm gonna do. She still hasn't made eye contact with me?
Correct. She seems fervent in her cause. Like she's like absolute. She didn't even budge when you like put the blade on her neck. The other girl winced at it, like the girl beside her.
Okay. I turn to her, make eye contact.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you tell her to make eye contact?
No, I do.
Oh,
I look
okay.
over to her.
Yeah, she's looking
I
in your general
slit
direction.
Sin's throat as I speak. I remove that which is a perceived weakness, and I kick her body to the pit. And then I walk to the second one.
Okay.
Do the same thing.
The blood spills, and she like, you know, does like the whole faint death thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the whole like room kind of mystify in blood, and you hear that like thing approaching you. It's aggressive.
It's aggressive?
Mm-hmm.
I locate it.
Okay. So suddenly you're slammed into like one of the nearby walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has you by the neck. This huge demon. It's like 10-foot behemoth with horns and nasty ass eyes, right? And it's that opaque thing you think you saw, and it must have been the same thing that breathed on you earlier. And its eyes are like engorged in red, like that's all it sees.
Mm-hmm.
And it's broken your collarbone on the slam in.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
I temper the outward wince.
You see that body like fall into the pit, right? And like the swirling black vortex is turning into like a red, like a dim red. The demon doesn't seem to talk. It's just mad at you. The priest would come out, right? And say, "Why have you slain one of Lilith's vessels?"
I envisioned an attachment. I am a tool to be refined, not chained down.
He looks to the other girls. "You were to find a a potential, something that could survive the procedure. But I see now that you're more of an enemy, aren't you? Someone who wishes Lilith's demise, which is why you don't seek her beauty in this world."
If that is how you wish to interpret my actions.
"It's not my interpretation. You're the one drawing blood. You think that all we do here is kill?
I've come to learn what you do here.
And what is that?"
Remains to be seen. Here to learn.
Suggestively maneuvers some of the weird in this area. You come to learn that he's like a wielder of the power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the demon, once like the red mist stops showing and it all kind of dims out, and he fixes by pulling out the blood from the vortex, and he like fits it into like a glass jar or something similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And corks it. Only then does the demon, that weird demon holding you against the wall, does he like back off.
Okay.
You think it had something to do with the spray of blood that got him pissed.
Okay.
But yeah, you get let go. You're weakened heavily along the chest area, right? And the priest says, "I encourage you not to draw blood in this sanctum."
Duly noted.
He looks to the vessel that was tossed into the vortex, which is now gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to reposition in order to see into the vortex. And he says, "And now you're gonna need to replace her. That was a fine candidate." He looks to the other two. "These two, not so much. Go ahead, toss them in." She, the one woman goes, "I can serve you well if you keep me alive, please." And then the third one's like, "No, no, please, my brother, search for me."
I toss them both in.
All right. They get tossed in live. You can just hear their like screams like just end suddenly. Right. And he says, "You're lucky I believe you, that you're not an enemy, so I shall give you a chance to repay the debt that you just entold onto yourself." He maneuvers you around the temple area and shows you around, right? Brings you to a barracks. He says, "You will meet with Lilith and ask her what you need to do in order for her to forgive her. But I promise you it's going to involve another vessel."
Very well.
He puts a hand on your shoulder and he says, "Next time, when I ask you to do something, simply do it. There is no riddle. You were overthinking it."
I apologize. I'm not so ignorant to believe myself but a child stumbling through the dark. I've come to learn. Now let's do my best to do so.
An interesting analogy. One that I'm sure Lilith will enjoy hearing about. Please enjoy your stay. He backs off. You see that they have like several people that live in the same quarter. Yeah, you're given like a bed, like an actual bed, right, with a frame and all that. All linens, all this stuff is produced here, manufactured and tailored here.
Okay.
You have access to all of it, so you can like switch out your clothes to a base outfit, a coven outfit,
I'll do so.
and you may choose to wear blindfold or not. So the people who wear the blindfolds are the people who are essentially daywalkers. Is what you're understanding,
People who can't see in the dark anyway.
right? So they just learn to see, like, live without
blind.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll go without for now. I'll change out my rifter clothing for coven garb.
Mhm.
Is it coven robes or
So there's a light coven combat outfit, and then there is a heavier like ornate gown type outfit. The lighter combat one is meant for the training grounds, and then the like more ornate one is meant for the kind of day-to-day stuff, like kind of chores, not really.
I'll do the coven combat robes.
Okay. But yeah, so you have access to the temple and the temple grounds. You kind of just explore around. You would find the armory. You would find the like the associated tools and shit that people make here. He was correct in bringing you here in terms of sheltering for winter. There's plenty of supplies all stored up. You see that there are several rift gates, or you feel that there are several rift gates. You don't have access to all of them.
Okay.
And eventually you find yourself in a chamber where apparently Lilith can like visit. So this chamber is fairly large, and it's like crowning thing in this chamber is this huge hell rift. And this hell rift is like gated, like it's created in a way that almost looks similar to like a gateway, right? And apparently she can like go, and they have it like marked on the ground, like the furthest she can go. So like if you enter that space, she'll come and see you, but she will not come out if you're not in that space, supposedly.
And he said for me to await to be summoned by Lilith.
No, you may choose to walk in there right now if you wish. But that they tell you that you should ask her for your forgiveness if you mean it, and then she's going to set you to task. You can work directly with the coven. Otherwise, there are those who like do her bidding without ever interacting with her herself. That's like it's like its own personal risk.
Okay. You're doing things in her name and hoping you're doing it right.
Right. Whereas if you talk to her directly, she apparently has like a hold on you. Like there's almost you will do her bidding.
Does it sound like that's like a once you do it, it's permanent, or is like she'll give you a task and you're like almost pressured into completing the task?
It just kind of depends. Apparently Lilith is like random. Like sometimes she's nice, sometimes she's mean. Like it's just kind of sporadic.
Okay.
It apparently matters like who you are and all this too. There's a lot to it. I know I'm skipping a lot of lore. Feel free to ask if you think something's relevant.
Okay. She's definitely seems prone to her dalliances,
Her what now?
her like what she feels in the moment.
Yeah, like she could be having a bad week or a good week, and then she's reacting differently. Like they don't people describe her, like the people who have met her describe her as someone of whom is like extremely focused. Um, but it like it's sporadic focus. Like she can sometimes be really focused on one thing, and then you come in with like the exact opposite, and then she just kills you on the spot.
Oh, lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll go ahead and get some rations, eat up, um,
Yeah,
maintain what little bit of the gear I have left at the moment.
but what are you maintaining?
Just looking over my leathers, my pouches, my last two knives, my clothing, make sure everything's in. I also see about seeing if there's a healer on site I can go to about my potentially fractured or some level of damaged collar.
Um, so yeah, it's gonna have to heal. So they recommend that you don't like do any upper chest exercise. There's nothing really they can do other than like give you good food, right?
Okay.
Maybe some drink for the pain.
They give me uh, a time frame of healing.
Uh, Not really. But, I mean, I guess they would like a really rough one. I don't know, like 2 months.
Well, I'm somewhat reluctant to go and directly talk with Lilith then, so I don't get put on a task that I immediately have to go leave and do while I'm fucking pretty fucked up. But honestly, the collarbone injury also kind of stops me from being able to really train so much.
There's a lot of trade skills and shit here that I have too. I don't know if you're interested in that.
Always.
Yeah, they have basically every trade. This is like a, if you will, it's a city, but it's not actually a city, right? But it has all the special trades.
I got you.
It's not populated like a city is. You find collections of different coven members. They'll collect like random things. So you see little collections of like seashells, right? Like things they found on the coast along the northern face of the Shadowlands,
Mm-hmm.
which interests you. You see that there's a guy who has like a Dwaro made like full ship that he managed to like drag here. It's just like hanging partially out of the fucking cave.
Fucking Wyatt.
Yeah, they got all kinds of crazy shit. Like a chow hall type deal, which has like a big ass like piano in it. Again, Dwaro made.
Do they have Dueros on site?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, this is just stuff they've recovered. So, from what you gather, um, there was like when the Great Darkness happened, when the Shadowlands like formed, a lot of the Abysmal's power kind of went out of control, and demons infiltrated and kind of devastated the local area around the wherever they possessed the Abysmals until they were put down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that actually ended up killing a lot of the like natives and making people retreat, and they abandoned a lot of like random, really expensive Dwaro stuff, such as like the piano, the
Okay.
ship. So they've been like finding that stuff and kind of recovering it. There's actually a guy dedicated to it. Like that's all he does is he figures out where the old Terras were.
I'd love to get to know him when I can actually do parkour and shit. Andrew's not even 2 months ahead of me, is he?
uh, what time are you at? I think he
Uh,
is.
I am Alethos 21st, year 50.
Yeah, he's literally already in Averon.
I feel like it'd be inappropriate for me to sit here for 2 months and not talk to Lilith.
You could, but you might not be too happy. You think?
Yeah, I know. Alright. I'm going to fast track a little bit. I will take a couple days to settle in, um, rest up a little bit, and get to know a few of the tradesmen. Um, specifically, leatherworker, Fletcher, um, maybe even a herbalist or alchemist.
Yep. All
Um,
3 exist. All 4 exist if you want to include herbology as a separate category.
I gotcha. And then also the blacksmith, probably.
Yeah, all 5 categories exist.
All right.
Make
Just
sure
to
to
make
write
it.
that. Write that down so I can like come up. I'm assuming you don't want to meet them all individually right now.
No, I
Okay.
mainly want to make introductions and, see if they are at all interested in potentially teaching.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah. You can learn their trade. So they'll let you work. You just don't get to. Um, they get to sell your work, and you don't get to keep your work.
that's fine. I'm literally perfectly fine with that.
Yep.
Perfect. Let me.
And then they would do the whole thing of like, you have to pay for my ingredients if you waste them, and then you just don't waste them.
Yeah, they're like, you're gonna fuck this up. Okay, maybe you didn't.
Mhm.
Yeah. So after a couple days of me settling it, I will and seek an audience with her.
All right. So so you step in, and immediately you're enshrouded in darkness, and you like lose all sense of space.
Like the first time.
Yeah. And before you know it, you're like you see her, right? And she like lands, and when she like lands, she like almost like Iron Man lands, like, and you see the portal form in the darkness, this like red swirl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this time you see her figure. She looks like almost crazed, right? Like she hasn't slept. And she like does this kind of like weird Prowley-esque stagger walk towards you, right? She's like kind of like leaning forward and hunched a little bit as she moves towards you,
Mm-hmm.
which is the exact opposite appearance of how she looks so like elegant and stuff normally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when she approaches, she like outstretches, kind of like a primate, like she like puffs out her chest and shit, and she would look down at you with her fucking brilliant red eyes. Um, and she says, Lenos, I was expecting you sooner.
I apologize for the slight delay. I believed it prudent to make acquaintance and
Neil,
settle in. I do so.
so you think that I should be waiting on you to settle in? She paces to your right. Answer.
I overstep. My apologies.
And you think that you can simply apologize and it will be okay. That you
I
will.
do not.
So you will. Show me. Strip. Isn't that what you
I'll do
did to
so.
one of my potential vessels before you ended her life?
I'll strip.
Okay. He starts stripping. She says, keep it on.
I will cease.
You were like dedicated to it, so like, you would like cut some straps, so you'd have to repair armor later.
Yay.
But yeah, she says, you had no right to view my body. Every right to view to view my face, as that is my symbol. The shape was all you were meant to look for. The idea, the look, the feel. Look to me.
I look up.
You see? You see this? She kind of like addresses her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
This is not how it's meant to be. This is because of the demon incursions. You know I've been attacked at every avenue and every waking moment. Because they think that I'm not, she paces around, evil enough, bad enough. I am the enemy to them. So you know what I say, Lenos?
I give like a slight head bob down as confirmation I'm listening.
I say death to the demons and death to the witches and death to the celestials and every fucking one else that wants death to me, you understand? So we're fighting for everything. And I need you to get on my side and start finding me a vessel. The faster I get into this mortal plane, the faster I get to win this fight. You can't go around killing potential vessels. Why did you kill her? I can't for the life of me understand.
Something encroached within my mind's eye. A commitment. Attachments are a weakness.
You killed her because of attachment? I found that woman ages ago. She willingly gave me her soul, and you're here talking about attachments? That woman was pure. She's never even been with a man. In what way could you have had an attachment? She, like, kind of goes down into a kneel with you, looking into your eyes. Ugh. You can feel her power coming off of her darkness. It's tainted. It's like this part of her that's like red in quotes is driving her mad.
Interesting. I do not know the origin of this. Just that which was perceived to me.
She puts her hands out like as though to caress your head. Will you let her?
Mm-hmm. I bow my head to her, meet her halfway.
All right. When she touches you, you can feel the distinct power of her like trying to like meld with you on some level. And you can feel her taint coming towards you.
Like invading?
Her this like corruption that's driving her mad. You think it's gonna like come onto you. All right. She so her power flows through you.
I pulled those memories that my mind's eye was shown to me to the forefront and present those to her.
Okay. She sees
but
the
keep the rest in
envisionment.
reserve.
She sees the envisionment. You can let you both like experience it again. This time a little bit clearer as she's like able to pull more of it somehow. And as she's seeing this image and you can see her like kind of portray, she almost like attacks that world in that moment. You like see yourself reacting, or you know that envisionment of yourself reacting to the power sway in the land. And after that brief moment, she comes back and you come back, right? And she says, "Now, isn't that interesting? You're right. That's not just an envisionment. You, my friend, might just be a portal to another realm."
Another plane.
It seems as though my Archon isn't the only Archon to have successfully made a place of existence. Some kind of bridge effect happened between you and that person. And the woman is the same, but not entirely.
Different.
She nods.
Then it would appear I made a rash decision based on a reality that is not my own.
She smiles at you. And for this, I will forgive you. But a vessel I still require. The knowledge will repay this other offense of not coming to me immediately, of course. She stands up and kind of backs off in thought. And you take that moment to kind of like address this demonic plague that's in you now. You'd think you successfully made it like lesser, but it's still in you.
Okay. Does it seem sentient? Does it have a will?
It doesn't. You don't feel any like being like that. It's just you can feel that like present, like not presence. You can. Well, I would say presence, but in the presence as in like essence presence.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a little confusing because we use them for both terms, but yeah. So you definitely feel that like demonic taint in you.
I need to find a way to cleanse that, it would seem.
She would back off and say, "You know, I did find you quite interesting, and this might actually explain a lot of it. You have my power in you, young Lenos." She turns around. She, almost like you can you think that she's like almost imitating herself. Like you see some of the attraction and beguileness that you would see on that tarot card, for example. And some of the statuesques, right? She's like more herself now than ever. She says, "And I was curious how that could be, considering that I have not yet been slain. I don't know if you know how the eternities work, but our powers are unique. Only the eternity of the selective power can actually hold anything. You see, I gave my gift of shadows, um, or I gave some of my unique gifts of shadows to the land, to the Titans, to the Naiads, because my Archon asked for it. But I never gave it to the mortals. And here you are, full fledged child of darkness. But now I think that your power is somehow received from this other realm, and the connection is still there, somewhere deep.
No matter what that origin may be, if I am a child of darkness, then I am your child.
No, you're the child of that darkness. And if you'll allow, that means that you are me. Lesser, maybe, but ever still. She comes up closer. You know what that means? That means I can instill power in you, and you can be my paladin. I won't force it on you. Just consider it.
This I can do.
You may do what you wish with the coven, and you will lead it as you see fit. They will not all respond well to your hierarchy, as they do not know you. You'll have to earn their own respect. Not all of them speak to me directly. However, I will require that eventually you manage to secure this one being known as the Witch. I imagine that she is fully capable of creating for me a vessel. Or, if you can somehow find a vessel that would work for me in the meantime, I shall accept that as well. And for now, I shall use you as my paladin. Understood?
Out of game, Michelle. So she is making me her paladin?
No, she's
Or
saying
just in title?
she's saying that she could make you her paladin. That's good enough for her.
Oh, okay. Alright. What traits do you desire in your vessel? Should I find one in the interim?
I prefer that she is not. I prefer that she is a virgin, that she is clean in all ways or pure in all ways, and that she is capable of taking on my power or adapting into it, similar to you. It'd be a rare trait to have, indeed. And now that I know a little bit more about what's going on, I suspect that it might only be possible via beings such as yourself. These weird transplanar mortals. So I might be a little bit harder to find in normal.
Nonetheless, I shall keep my senses keen.
Thank you. You are dismissed, Lenos. Unless you have something else.
Not at this moment. I give a firm head bow down, and then back off.
Okay. The shadows dissipate from you, and she walks back into the portal. You once again are revealed into the temple location,
Okay.
and you're good. Any? I think this is. I mean, this is a success. So, do we want to end there?
We can end there, yeah. I really wouldn't consider it a full success. I really wish I went with my other option I was running through my head, but that's alright.
Mm-hmm. All right. Would you like to explain that other option just because you brought it up, or no?
So the other option, excuse me, sorry. Been trying to kick this cough for a fucking month. It hasn't been working.
Mm-hmm.
My other option was I was thinking about throwing the other two into the fucking pit. And I had a bit of dialogue spun up in my head that I was going to do. Half of it's faded away now due to irrelevancy. But, yeah, I was going to leave that one there, but that's alright.
Leave Sin there?
Yeah. But I saw the perceived weakness attachment, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't cut that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of where my character's headspace is he's still kind of in that mindset of just singularity, of just focusing on improvement.
Yeah.
So he's not really quite reached that at least the way I envision him, he's not reached that point in my character's maturity advancement where he starts seeing those attachments less as a liability and more as a potential strength and asset.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was worth noting that your Twilight friend came here as well, but was separated from you.
Like they specifically moved him away.
He was following with you, and then like around the time where like you were saw the training priests, they would have separated him. So
Okay.
he would have rejoined you now.
Okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, end the session.
I do keep up with teaching him commerce and math and the languages I do know.
Okay, you mean during your travel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did want to mention that just because my current game plan for him at the moment, I've got 2 of them I'm playing around in my head. I'll need to make the finalized decision here soon. I'm either going to keep him in Lyman and push him towards being like my merchant asset, or I was toying with the idea of, because he's got multiple personalities, specializing multiple personalities to come out at certain points. Obviously, the hurdle with that then is convincing the said multi-personalities to, I have to make them aware of each other, but not break him to a point, but then also have them be willing to coexist in the sake of the perpetual betterment of his future as
Yeah.
an entity.
Both really good ideas, of course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I was toying with that idea because I'm like, wouldn't it be dope as shit? I could be like, yeah, it's my merchant buddy. And then we get jumped, and I'm like, yeah, it's my merc buddy who's going to whoop your fucking ass.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Plus, it'd make him one hell of an infiltrator.